Anderson from Accusound, talking all things electronics and amplification. If you are looking to get into amplification or you have a few questions, chances are we cover some of the simple and not so simple things to do with amplifying your harp. It was a lovely chat. I've not seen David in ages, so it was lovely to catch up with him, and I hope you enjoy listening to the catch up too. Happy nearly Christmas, everybody. Hello, David. Welcome to the PoppyHarp Inspire podcast.
Hello.
It's lovely to have you. Nearly Christmas time. How are you feeling about it being nearly Christmas?
Too early. It comes too soon every year.
Oh, I love Christmas. I'm already wrapped. Everything's ready. All the cards are done. Just have to put all the stamps on the envelopes and everything. What does Christmas preparations look like for you at Accusound?
I mean, we try to get a bit kitted up prior to Christmas because we do get a few people coming wanting bits and pieces for gigs they're going to do over Christmas, and especially for New Year. I mean, we get possibly more violin stuff actually whenever it comes to New Year for the Scottish hogmanay and things like that when it comes into it. So that's usually quite a big bit for us, yeah.
Because you do amplification for every instrument, don't you? It's not just
Everything.
harp.
No, we do everything. I mean, bongos, didgeridoos, anything you can think of. Bagpipes, yeah, we do the lot.
I was going to say, what's the strangest one you've done? But actually, they are quite unique, those ones, aren't they?
There are some strange ones. I can't remember them particularly, but sort of some of the African single string ones, which almost combined with a drum at the same time, as part of the same instrument. They're challenging, but it's all sound, so it's not a huge difference between one and the next.
What instrument did you start with? Because did you start with harp because you work a lot with pilgrims, or was that something that came after?
Well, I suppose in a way, we didn't really start because I took the company over in about 1985, something like that. It was run by somebody else who had sort of set up all the basics. So they had set up all the different instruments they were going to make. And I think really they went through a night is out of instruments and just said, we'll do one for all those. And to be fair, we've not had anybody come and said, can you do one of these? And we've failed to do it for them. So it's all possible. But our most popular ones would be violin and harp. Violin's quite a big one for us. I mean, a lot of people use violins either as violins or as fiddles, as you might say, and derivative instruments like violas, things like that. But between those and harps, they're probably our most popular range.
So for somebody that's looking into that, maybe is just an acoustic instrumentalist, that perhaps doesn't want to get an electric instrument, you have a strip mic that I have had for
more years than you like to remember.
22 years now.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Still going strong. What would you suggest is dipping your toe way to get into amplified playing for a harp?
Okay. Well, for harps, the contact strip is the best way. It's the only one that we really advertise being for the harp because it works so well. It's so easy. It self-adhesive tape will stick it on the inside of your soundboard, so it's not visible. So nobody knows you're amplifying and nobody knows what you're going through. So when you go to somewhere which is just an acoustic venue and you don't want to amplify, you don't have to take it all out. You can just leave it inside the harp and nobody would know. It also gives you a really good sound. Picks up the whole of the instrument. There's none of this sort of one string better than the others. And not only that, it gives you a really loud signal. So, I mean, often what people complain about is feedback. I mean, and that's a completely other half-hour conversation, really. But essentially, feedback is whenever your amplifier is giving out more sound than your instrument. So it becomes really difficult to amplify and you just get this howling noise. The advantage of the contact strip is that it's actually amplifying the vibrations of the harp, not the sound that's coming out as such. And therefore, in order for it to get feedback, the loudspeaker has to make the soundboard vibrate as much as your instrument does. And that's a lot more difficult. Certainly not impossible, but it's a lot more difficult. So you do get a lot more signal out of it.
Is there an easy way if you're getting feedback, say you're practicing at home or you're doing a concert and you're getting a bit of feedback, is there a little easy troubleshooting that you can do? Turn down the gain or something? Is there?
Well, feedback, understanding feedback, it's probably the prime thing to do. And what feedback is the sound from your loudspeaker getting back to the microphone louder than it started off. So yeah, the simplest way, turn your amplifier down, make less volume. Now, the other way is to turn your loudspeaker so it's pointing away from you. So the sound is not getting back to the microphone easily. put it further away from hard surfaces. So you could be pointing it away from you, but you might be pointing it straight at a brick wall or a window, and that could be bouncing the sound straight back to you again. So little things like that, moving it, pointing in slightly different directions is the way to do it, really.
That's perfect. Whenever I'm at home, I think about moving it further away, but sometimes I'm playing and I get so irritated. I'm like, why have I got feedback today? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's because I've got it right next to me and it's facing at my face.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are occasions where you do want it pointing towards you because you want to hear what you're playing, but you just have to take into consideration that no matter what you're doing, what you're using, it will give you feedback. And generally speaking, the better quality of the amplifier and the better quality of the microphone, the less likely you are to get feedback. And that's all to do with what's called the frequency response. So in other words, how much different frequencies are amplified. Cheaper amplifiers, cheaper microphones tend to have little peaks in them, and that's where you get the feedback at those little peaks. So it might sound absolutely fine, but it will just suddenly resonate at 3 kilohertz or 2.5 kilohertz or just any frequency that happens to be a peak in that response.
Could it be leads as well? Can leads impact?
No, no, very unlikely to be leads. Leads can give you problems of interference. So if you get things like your mobile phone clicks going off, hum from lights, sometimes the older fashioned fluorescent lights can give you interference, but feedback won't be an issue with leads. No.
So, do you have any advice for a gigging harpist? Is there anything they should be aware of when placing their amps, or maybe talking to people that are using a PA or something like that? Do you have any advice for a gigging harpist to get a good sound out of their harp?
It's very difficult. So many things are so different, and a lot of it is very dependent on the sound engineer that you've got. Obviously, if you've got your own sound engineer, you can work together and you can work out what's best for you. But the sort of things to explain to sound engineers who possibly have never seen a harp before is that it's a relatively quiet instrument. So it does need a reasonable amount of amplification. So you've got to make sure things like stage monitors, and you're not too far forward on the stage, so you're not getting the what they call the front of house loudspeaker sound getting back to you again. So being a little bit further back on the stage, keeping stage monitors a bit further away from you, maybe not pointing towards your instrument or pointing perhaps from behind you instead of in front of you, are the little things you can look at.
Oh, I love that. I hadn't thought about that one. I love that. So it's coming up to Christmas. If you have a loved one or a harpist in your family, is there anything that you could suggest would be a nice little present?
Main things really for a harp is just the pickup and the amplifier. And that obviously depends on your budget and also depends on what facilities you've got. The strip microphone, which is the one we use for harp, is a really good starting place because it gives you control over the sound. So what I was saying before about having a friendly sound engineer, you can almost do away with that if you've got your own pickup on your harp because you know what it's like, you know how to control it. You don't have this person coming with these big black stands with microphones on it, pointing them at you and putting one at the other side, and then you tip your harp back to play it, and they suddenly rush in because it's all in the wrong place again. So having the strip pickup allows you to have control over your sound, and it gets you going. Obviously, the amplifier you've got will make a difference. I mean, you've spent probably a minimum of £2,000 to £3,000 on your harp. It's silly to go spending 50 quid on an amplifier. But for some people, they've got an old amplifier which my granddad used to use. It'll all give you increased sound, so we wouldn't say don't use it. Just be aware that if it's not good, your sound is not going to be good. So obviously, if you've got the budget, go to one of our amplifiers or a similar one, an acoustic amplifier. In fact, that's called acoustic amplifier means that what it's amplifying is actually the signal that comes into it. A lot of electric guitar amplifiers do a really good job of amplification, but they have their own sort of flavor, as it were. So they do change the sound a bit. And for some people, that might be just what they want, so there's no problem in trying it. But just be aware that if you use something that's intended to be a Jimi Hendrix amplifier, you're not going to sound like a pure harp if that's what you're looking for.
I love the authentic sound of that. I am biased because I love but I love all of the. I mean, you've probably updated this now, but I love all of the effects you can get on the actual amplifier.
Mm.
So you don't need a whole board, or you don't want to get an effects board or pedals and things like that. You can set the amplifier. I love
Yeah.
that, and you can get the delays, and so you can have that authentic sound, but you can mess with it too, just with the amp.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the idea behind the amplifier was really to give people a start into effects. There are 16 effects on the amplifier. Some are a bit more unusual than others. Some are just basic echo, which is quite a nice thing to warm up the sound. But it does have the facility to be able to plug pedals in. So once you've sort of got to know what you want and got a bit more used to it, you can then put in as many pedals as you want to advance your sound, leaps and bounds as you want.
To take that even further, you've been working with Pilgrim Harps to develop their system to create electroacoustic harp.
Yes.
Can you
Yeah.
talk us a little bit about how your amps and everything tie into making that really beautiful round? Because I'm very biased, but I love that round sound. I love when you tap on the instrument, you can hear that tap super clearly because it's coming through the amplifier rather than, as you say, some other systems go onto the strings and you don't quite get the resonance through the harp. And I love that sort of earthy, round
Yeah.
sound.
Well, our sort of original idea of amplification was to amplify the instrument that you've got, not trying to make anything else out of it. Once you've got the electronic sound or the electronic signal into an amplifier, you can do what you like with it. You can mess about with it. You can delay it, echo it, anything you like with it. But to get it out of the instrument first as accurately as possible, that was our main aim. So what we've done for the Pilgrim Wave systems is to have what's called a continuous pickup. So effectively, we've got a pickup that goes all the way up the bass bar and then all the way back down again. So every string is covered by the pickup. So even the interactions between one string and the next, they're covered because they're all combined together, which is very similar to our little strip mic, which picks off the soundboard, because the soundboard naturally mixes all the signals together. And that's what our aim is really with producing this continuous pickup system. Everything's joined together, and therefore the whole of the harp is part of your amplification. So as you say, tap the side of the harp, move the pedals, you can get that sound through. That sound is always there.
It's a lovely option, isn't it? So you've got a bigger budget, you can get a new harp with all of it built in, and then it's just a jack cable, or you can get that strip mic. Mine are all piled up over there. I should have brought
Yeah.
you get the strip mic, and I love it that it works just as well on my lever harp as my pedal harp. It's the
Yes.
same mic that I can just go bing bing and it can come out, because I cannot comprehend putting something permanent in retrospectively in my harp. I can't imagine drilling it. I just can't imagine doing that. So I love that you can leave it in there, but also it can come out. That's not going to do any change your harp at all.
Yeah, and you can leave it in. It doesn't change your harp when you're playing it acoustically either. So it's really useful and quite versatile thing.
And you can change the volume from, because you've got the pack right next
Yes,
to your harp. You don't have to go to the amp. You can do it all right next to your harp, can't you?
absolutely. Yeah.
So in layman's terms, can you tell us all about the little box that sits next to
Yeah, I
your
mean,
harp?
the sort of standard little box that comes with it has a single input to it, so you just for plugging in your pickup. And it has a little rotary volume control on it, which allows you to change the volume. So if you want to tune while you're in the middle of something, you can turn your sound down and you don't get that through. We also do now a dual input one, which means you can put, say, maybe a headset onto it as well. So you can listen and you can sing, or simply just to introduce yourself between songs. The other advantage of that particular pickup is that it's a higher output for it. So you can actually go straight into pedals from that and then go into your amplifier. So it's quite an advanced little box. It gives you two inputs, but a single output. So again, if you're using with voice and you're going through pedals, your voice will also go through the pedals. But if you want to go separately, you'd have to have two separate devices. It's a nice little instrument. It works off 9 volts, or will take phantom power as well.
This is bad for me, because that's definitely, my brain's gone, you need that. That's something you need for Christmas, Fran. You can upgrade your box. So you said about phantom power.
Yes.
What is phantom power? Because I get so many of my students going, what does it mean? Why do I click that? Why do I click it? Do I not click it?
Yeah. Well, just as a slight sort of aside to that, actually on our website, we have some information pages which tell you things like what is feedback, how to avoid feedback, what is phantom power, what's an XLR, what's a jack. Effectively, phantom power, it only works on XLRs, first of all. So you have to have your standard microphone type input. So that's a 3-pin, about 20mm diameter plug. And what phantom power does, it gives out a voltage from your amplifier or mixing desk along that microphone cable to your pickup or to your little black box in our case. And all that does, it means you don't have to put a battery into the box. And it just supplies the voltage for that. It's a very old system, started in about the early 70s. Generally speaking, they're 48 volts that come out, and most things that will take phantom power will work from 48 volts. But there are low voltage versions of 15 volts and 12 volt ones. Most of the time, you don't need to worry what the voltage is. If it's phantom power, it should just work a system that will take phantom power.
I still think that's gone whoosh over my head. But I'm sure some people will.
Go and read our website.
Definitely. I'll put the links to that all under the video.
Okay.
So I'll pop the link to your website and the harp specific things. So where can people come and see you coming in the next few months, the next year? Can we come and visit you? Can we try your products? Where are you going? What's your Accusound journey looking like next year?
The only exhibitions that we do are Edinburgh Harp Festival, which is sort of around about Easter time, sort of end of March, beginning of April. So that's the only time we're actually out on the road. We have other people who've got piece of our equipment, like Pilgrim Harps have got one, the Harp Studio. So if they're Fran,
I've got one.
so when they're going out to things like Beth and Watson from the Harp Studio does a lot of Stedfords, and she nearly always has an amplifier and some pickups there, so you can always go there and see them, or go to Pilgrim if you're based down south somewhere. The other thing that we do offer everybody who buys any of our equipment is that we sort of say, when you bought it, you've normally got 2 weeks to try it out, see what you think of it, see if it works for you. We don't say a very strict 2 weeks. If after a week and a half you think, well, I haven't really had time to play with this enough, just let us know. As long as we know what you're doing and you haven't just gone off grid and we never find you again. Then after that sort of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, if you decide it's just not for me, send it back again. We'll just do a refund, because you've got to listen to it in your own place. I mean, you could come and visit us and we can show you how to fit it, but again, there's videos for how to do that. But unless you're using your own amplifier in your own room, you don't know what it's going to sound like. Even you might want to take it to a gig, and try it before you really commit to it. We just ask you to buy it first, so we know there's some commitment there, and if you don't like it, return it to us.
I think the lovely thing about you as well is that even me, and I've been gigging for a while, I'll have an odd problem. I'll think I've done something stupid. I'll pick up the phone, I'll call you, I've done something, and I'm like, have you touched that? I'm like, yeah, I did, thank you. That's what I did. And there's been a couple of gigs I've been in a minor panic, going, oh, what do I do? But you always pick up the phone and you're so helpful. And I think I called you for some recording advice and you gave me the best advice. I was like, how do I know it's good? And you're like, well, if it sounds good, it's good. There's no extra level to it. If it sounds good, it's good.
No.
And that was brilliant advice. But it's lovely that you can offer more, and I can say, I had my pedal harp and I had a load of different pedals, and I was like, how do I make this sound a little bit more clean or have more power? And you created a Jack 40.
Right. Yeah.
And I love that I can call up somebody so helpful. So thank you very much.
Well, that's what we hear. I mean, a lot of people try to make amplification complicated. Sometimes that's because they want to sell you lots of things that you don't really need. And sometimes it's because they don't really understand themselves.
And you said earlier about microphones. You sell microphones, and I've got a nice headset of yours. Do you still sell the headsets and things?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
That could be another nice little Christmas present.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, that would
So if
allow
you've got
people
a
to.
singing harpist in your life,
Yes.
or a singing harpist in your life, that might be a nice way to go for Christmas.
Yeah. The nice thing about a headset mic is that it's always the same distance away from your mouth. So you don't have to worry about whether you've tipped the harp back to start playing and then realize you're now 2 feet away from the microphone. It's always there. I mean, the downside is that obviously if you don't turn it off, you can hear yourself breathing and doing things that you shouldn't know what to do. But other than that, they're pretty useful.
And it's great for things like everybody's recording for YouTube now, and social media. You can just plug especially with my wave harp, I just plug it straight into my Scarlett, goes straight into my computer. I've got a mic that I use, goes straight in. so easy to use if you want to start getting into YouTube and you want a bit of a nicer sound or a much cleaner sound than you would get on your iPhone.
Yeah.
Or your phone. Not Apple, you can be with any other brand of phone. So that's a really good thing to do as well if you're thinking about getting into YouTube and that sort of, especially with Christmas. Everybody doing their advent calendar Christmas countdown.
Absolutely.
Christmas tunes. Do you have a favorite Christmas tune? Do you play guitar, don't you, David?
No, I don't play any instrument. No.
You don't play any instruments?
No, it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah,
I just like making the sound.
We should get you playing the harp.
Well, I have thoughts sometimes, but I can tune a harp. That's about it.
I taught Penny at Pilgrims one year. We had a bet with one of the directors at Pilgrims now, Tom, that she couldn't learn a grade 5 piece in a week. And we worked very hard, but she did it. She won her bet.
Well
so
done.
maybe we need to do that with you next time. Get you in. You're in the room with Bethan in
Yes.
Edinburgh. We can get Bethan teaching you.
Well, you can always try.
I have one last question, actually.
Go for it.
Do you have a lead there? Because you taught me once how to properly tie up a lead, and I am still terrible at it. I was really good for a little while, then didn't do it for a while. They all just piled up. Went to do it again, and I forgot. And all my students want to know how to tie up a lead so it doesn't go all.
You start off by just putting it over the top, nice and simply. So you've got a single loop of whatever size you need. The next one, you turn it in on itself, so it comes around underneath. And what that's doing effectively is putting a little bit of a twist into it, because if you just do it by hand, you actually twist it every time you turn it around your hand, which is why it comes out kinked. The next one goes straight again, then the next one, wind it underneath, and again, and just keep going forwards and backwards, and that gives you quite a nice coil of wire, which when you pull it out, about straight, doesn't have lots of kinks in it.
That's perfect. It's the underneath. I was missing the underneath.
The bit underneath,
going over the top or something. It's the underneath.
Over the top might work as well, as long as you're always doing it the same way. But I think underneath seems to be very efficient.
Or maybe I was doing it over, under, over or something.
Possibly, yeah.
Well, I hopefully will see you in April. It's been far too long since I've seen you in person. But thank you so much for your time this morning. It's been
a pleasure
with you, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.
Yes, and you too. Thank you very much.